Yes, that really does seem apparent. Are we naive to think that any occupant of a entrenchant set of systems could deliver meaningful change while operating within a paradigm that seems to be restrictive by its nature and designed to prevent the kind of changes that are necessary? A simple example would be this. If there were a referendum on the $95 billion aid package that's just been granted to the collective interests of Ukraine, Israel, and some imagined and projected threat against China regarding Taiwan, if there was a referendum on that, I don't imagine that $95 billion bill would be passed with the effortlessness through which it was,
Right.
its lubricated pathway through both the Senate and Congress. So what we have there is a disjunct between the establishment and the people that it governs that's it sort of is distinct and maybe irreconcilable. So why are we not discussing the possibility of referenda, decentralization, the ability for ordinary people to... The arguments that are made, Dennis, around handguns by people that are anti-gun, they say when the Bill of Rights and the right to bear arms was passed, you didn't have semi-automatics, you had muskets. Well, at the same time that the Constitution was designed, it wasn't possible for everybody to have immediate democracy and immediate referenda and representation through fully immersive technology. So why are we pretending we need this sort of rather croaking, corruptible and deeply corrupted model of democracy or representative republicanism, or whatever people want to call it? Why are we pretending that there isn't a better way?
Well, first of all, you're right. Russell, if the American people had a direct vote on whether to spend $95 billion more for wars against other countries at a time when real wages are going down and rents are going up, the cost of housing is going up, cost of child care, food, every essential of life is going up. Inflation is taking a big chunk out of people's expendable budget. When you look at that, people, of course, they wouldn't vote for a war. But what happens? The Congress is captive. And the Congress is supposed to vote the will of the people. That's what the whole idea of government of the people, but it doesn't happen that way. It's not working that way. And so that's why today people have to pay attention to what's happening in the congressional races, because if a member of Congress is voting against your interests and people have an obligation to start checking how their member's voting, then you're the one, the referendum then becomes in November, so you vote to replace that individual. So, this whole idea about a democracy or republic, whatever anyone wants to call it, is a government of the people, but it's not happening right now. It's a government of special interests. It's a government of the military-industrial complex, which really doesn't care if there's a war or not, as long as they keep on making it. But you can make more, as they're doing in Ukraine and in the Middle East, if you can keep the tensions going, and you can create this dialectic of conflict. So I'm running as an independent because I know that this dichotomous thinking, which characterizes U.S. policy, has to be broken, that there has to be a way to say, look, there's another way of looking at the world. And of course, the dichotomy doesn't even exist anymore in a sense because you have a unipolar government pretending that America is at the apex of a unipolar world.